Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal Part 231 to 232 based on novel. So let's start. Master Flamespark didn't throw the white ball of flame but ruthlessly crushed it. The ball of flame collapsed and turned into countless phoenixes. They let out bursts of cries and shot straight toward Ji Xiantian. Ji Xiantian waved his arms and let out a sharp laugh. The endless glacier that had formed behind him began to rumble as they moved forward. The two didn't stop, they began displaying various spells. Origin energy fluctuated as if heaven and earth were going to reverse, and these fluctuations quickly spread. The entire northern region entered a chaotic battle. Master Flamespark's eyes lit up and he waved his right hand. Several celestial realm fragments appeared and he shouted, "Celestial wheel." With these words, the celestial fragments around him began to rumble and rotate around him. A storm was suddenly set by this. As the storm swept by, all the cultivators affected were forced to retreat. Ji Xiantian's expression became gloomy as he raised his hand up and shouted, "Law of Ice." In an instant, endless cold energy spread like crazy from his hand. Under the endless rumbles, countless glacier shot out and rapidly spread toward Master Flamespark. Ice. Killing intent flashed across Ji Xiantian's eyes as he pointed at Master Flamespark. At this moment, a powerful chill appeared around Master Flamespark. This chill contained law, and in the blink of an eye, it formed layers of ice that trapped Master Flamespark inside. Just at this moment, the roar of the Moongazer serpent echoed across the stars. The roar of the Moongazer serpent shook the world and seemed to make it shake before everyone's eyes. This scene caused the expressions of the Alliance side to change. Black Fiend Devil Saint and Cloud Dragon Demon Saint, who were battling against Blood God and company, became gloomy and quickly retreated. Ji Xiantian let out a cold snort and his eyes lit up. Instead of backing up, he charged straight ahead at Master Flamespark, who was trapped in the ice. When he got close, he pressed his hands down on the ice without any hesitation. At this moment, a destructive force charged into the ice. This force mysteriously stacked together and charged toward Master Flamespark. Just at this moment, inside the ice, Master Flamespark's eyes revealed a cold glint and he revealed a smile. The cultivation he had hidden began to erupt like crazy and increased from the late stage of Nirvana Shatterer to an incredible level. You broke through. Ji Xiantian's expression changed greatly and he was about to retreat without hesitation. Cracks appeared on the ice that trapped Master Flamespark and suddenly covered all the ice. Then, in the blink of an eye, the ice shattered and the countless pieces shot out in all directions. Master Flamespark laughed, took a step, and merged with the world. He didn't move, but the moment he merged with the world, his origin energy spread out like crazy. At this moment, the origin energy in the world began to vibrate violently and directly interfered with spatial bending. At the same time, Master Flamespark's hand formed a seal and a red flame spread like a raw dragon. Shortly after, Master Flamespark spat out a mouthful of essence origin energy. It landed on the rotating celestial fragments, which completely blocked Ji Xiantian's retreat. The celestial fragments trembled and rotated 10 times faster than before. It charged out and trapped Ji Xiantian inside. The storm formed by the rotating fragments roared and Ji Xiantian's expression became gloomy. His hand pushed outward and a large amount of origin energy gathered. He was about to break out. At this moment, Master Flamespark stepped out and a large amount of flames surged out from his body. He pointed with his finger and the flames rushed out, surrounding the storm. Some of the flames fused with the storm, and now it looked like a fire dragon. Just at this moment, in the distance, the Moongazer serpent arrived as if it was teleporting. It looked extremely ferocious with its countless tentacles. Bursts of roars echoed. For a moment, both sides stopped attacking and retreated as they stared dumbfoundedly at the scene before them. Black Fiend Devil Saint only took one look at the Moongazer serpent and felt his scalp go numb. He let out a wry smile and quickly retreated. As for the Cloud Dragon Demon Saint, he revealed a look of disbelief. Ji Xiantian was startled. His origin energy surged like crazy and he wanted to rush out of his siege. However, How could Master Flamespark let him do as he wished? Master Flamespark's arms stretched out and he injected more origin energy inside the flames to trap Ji Xiantian. In the distant stars, what followed directly after the Moongazer serpent was the giant wood. It was extremely large, and it suddenly changed directions, moving toward Master Flamespark and straight at Ji Xiantian. The giant wood hadn't even gotten close when a strange force shrouded the world. Endless rumbles came from it and it started moving even faster. Ji Xiantian's pupils shrank. He had no way of escaping quickly. In this moment of crisis, both of his hands formed a seal and he pointed at his body. Each time he pointed, a blue vortex appeared. In an instant, 13 blue vortexes as blue as the sea appeared around his body. After these vortexes appeared, they immediately enlarged and entered Ji Xiantian's body. After the first blue vortex entered his body, a curtain of blue light appeared around Ji Xiantian. After all 13 vortexes entered his body emitted a blinding, blue light. There were a total of 13 layers of blue light. This was Ji Xiantian's power of law. The color of the absolute limit of ice was blue, and during Ji Xiantian's life, he was only able to condense 13 layers of blue light. He had always thought that if he could condense the 13 layers into one, his cultivation might have a breakthrough. The moment Ji Xiantian's 13 layers of blue light appeared, the giant wood arrived. The ripples caused by the arrival of the giant wood were indescribable. At this moment, everything disappeared, and the only thing that remained was the momentum of the giant wood that could extinguish anything in its path. No person, magic treasure, item, not even a cultivation planet, could stop its impact or even deal the slightest bit of damage to it. This giant wood was able to support the arrival of the ancient celestial realm. And now everything among the stars must collapse before it. The giant wood arrived with an unimaginable impact as if it wanted to poke a hole in space. It instantly closed in on the storm Master Flamespark had used to trap Ji Xiantian. It was very simple without any fancy technique or any flashes of spell. The giant wood directly smashed into the rotating celestial fragments. Bang! One of the fragments collapsed and its pieces quickly spread. In an instant, the few fragments in the vicinity of where the giant wood crashed also collapsed. The collapse of the fragments was no weaker than the collapse of a cultivation planet. The force of all the collapse fell on Ji Xiantian, who was trapped inside. The endless impact turned into a violent storm that pushed in all directions. The blue light flashed violently around Ji Xiantian. Just as the force from the collapsing fragments started spreading out, the giant wood collided with Ji Xiantian. Bang! Ji Xiantian's body trembled and one layer of blue light around him immediately collapsed. This didn't end. The moment the giant wood collided, an endless impact charged out like crazy. It was as if waves of powerful impacts were charging into Ji Xiantian's body. Bang! 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 The blue lights around Ji Xiantian collapsed one by one, and in an instant, 6 layers had disappeared. His whole body rapidly retreated out of his control. This rapid retreat was caused by the impact of the giant wood. It could even be said that this retreat was just the giant wood pushing him. The moment the giant wood collided with Ji Xiantian, killing intent flashed across Master Flamespark's eyes. Then flames surged around his body and he mercilessly pressed down on Ji Xiantian. When the flames closed in on Ji Xiantian, 3 more layers of blue light around him collapsed. Aghast filled Ji Xiantian's eyes as everything had happened too fast. 9 layers of blue light had disintegrated in almost an instant. At the moment of life and death, Ji Xiantian wanted to escape, but Li Yunzi and Shengong family ancestor both stepped out. Their spells turned into endless forces that landed on Ji Xiantian's body. Ji Xiantian was hit by the giant wood, Master Flamespark, Li Yunzi, and the Shengong family ancestor. All of their spells were extremely powerful, not to mention Master Flamespark's, whose cultivation level was above Ji Xiantian's. Before these attacks, Ji Xiantian almost lost his wit. However, he was, after all, an old monster that had been famous for tens of thousands of years in a life of slaughter. Although this was a moment of crisis, he wasn't going to die so easily. Facing this moment of crisis, Ji Xiantian let out a laugh and decisively exploded the remaining 4 layers of blue light around her. A thunderous rumble echoed when the 4 layers of blue light exploded. Li Yunzi was pushed back by the impact along with the Shengong family ancestor. Even Master Flamespark hesitated before he let out a sigh and retreated. Although he could kill Ji Xiantian, he would be injured in the process. That would be a big disadvantage in the Alliance star system. After shaking off the 3 powerful cultivators, Ji Xiantian's face was pale and he coughed out a mouthful of blood. He had used the explosion of the blue intense explosion to retreat, and he screamed, "Master Flamespark, if this old man doesn't get his revenge, then I'm not a person." Behind him was the Moongazer serpent. He reached toward the void and cracks appeared. At this moment, he didn't care if he would be lost in the cracks, he was about to step inside. At this moment, Wang Lin was standing on the giant wood. He was a bit far away, but he was still affected by the impact. The force made the origin energy inside his body unstable. He looked at the rapidly retreating Ji Xiantian and then at Master Flamespark. He then clenched his teeth, pointed forward, and shouted, "Stop." With just the word stop, the origin energy inside Wang Lin's body moved to his right fingertip and entered the void. This time, Wang Lin didn't use the little remaining celestial origin energy he had left, only his own origin energy. It was as if countless lines had spread across space and entangled themselves around Ji Xiantian in an instant. This was the weakest Ji Xiantian had ever been in his entire life. All 13 layers of blue light had collapsed, so he had to leave his as soon as possible to find a place to recover, or else he would without a doubt die. He had already been a decisive person. He had exploded 4 layers of blue light just to create an opening to escape. He had to report the fact that Master Flamespark's cultivation had broken through the late stage of Nirvana Shatterer to Zhong Xuanzi. Master Flamespark's cultivation hasn't reached the 3rd step, but he is far stronger than late-stage Nirvana Shatterer cultivators. He must have reached the peak of the 2nd step. Just as he was about to step into the crack, Ji Xiantian felt countless invisible threads wrap around him. His right foot, which was making its way into the crack, couldn't help but slow down for a moment. A binding force with only this much strength was something he normally wouldn't need to worry about. He only needed to move a bit to break these threads and even cause the caster's origin soul to shatter. However, at this moment of crisis, if he was slowed for just a little bit, the result would be beyond imagination. Ji Xiantian's expression changed greatly. As for Master Flamespark, he was startled for a moment, but then ecstasy filled his eyes. He stepped out without hesitation and arrived near Ji Xiantian. His right hand pressed down and landed on Ji Xiantian's body. This forced Ji Xiantian out from the crack. Just as Ji Xiantian was forced out from the crack, the Moongazer serpent suddenly opened its mouth and mercilessly swallowed. All of this happened too fast. At almost the instant Ji Xiantian was forced out, the Moongazer serpent arrived. Ji Xiantian let out an angry roar when he was being swallowed by the Moongazer serpent. The moment the stop spell fell on Ji Xiantian, Wang Lin's body trembled and he coughed out a large mouthful of blood. It was as if he had been hit by a powerful force, and he quickly backed up. The origin energy in his body almost collapsed. The difference between his and Ji Xiantian's cultivation was too large. At this moment, the force caused popping sounds to come from all over his body and a large amount of blood mist gushed out. Wang Lin let out a miserable shout as he retreated. Senior Master Flamespark, Junior has done his best. The reason he did this was to improve his own achievement before everyone. This would make Master Flamespark owe him a great debt. At the same time, it was big reason for him to receive all heathens' full protection. This was a true expression of sincerity. With this achievement, no matter where or when, he, Wang Lin, would be the highest profile hero in the war between the two systems. No one could erase this point or forget it. If Wang Lin were to fall into a difficult situation and all heaven didn't help, then it would have a very negative effect on all heaven. If that happened, who would give it their all in the battles that followed? Wang Lin had calculated all of this. With the combination of his cultivation and the body of an ancient god, perhaps if the other party was at their peak, he might have died to the backlash, but given that Ji Xiantian was seriously injured and escaping, even if he failed, he wouldn't die from the backlash. Sometimes, when there are no more paths left, you have gamble and create a road. At this moment, Wang Lin was opening up a road for himself in the future. In truth, Wang Lin's guess was very accurate. If he didn't have the body of an ancient god, he would have died. However, with the body of an ancient god and Ji Xiantian being in an extremely weakened state, he was only injured. As Master Flamespark laughed, his body flickered and he charged straight at Wang Lin. In almost an instant, he arrived near Wang Lin's constantly retreating body and his palm landed on Wang Lin's back. An unimaginable powerful surge of origin energy suddenly rushed from Master Flamespark's body into Wang Lin's. It immediately stabilized Wang Lin's origin energy and got rid of his injuries. In addition, the powerful origin energy that entered Wang Lin's body was cut off by Master Flamespark, so it all remained inside Wang Lin's body. At this instant, Wang Lin felt the origin energy explode within his body. His origin soul opened its eyes and absorbed the origin energy like crazy. He felt his own strength climb like crazy. In the end, his cultivation reached the peak of the early stage of Nirvana Scrya. He only needed comprehension in his domain to become a mid-stage Nirvana Scrya cultivator. This time, Master Flamespark didn't hold back and gave Wang Lin an unimaginably great fortune. It was too difficult for second-step cultivators to increase their cultivation level. Aside from comprehending their domain, they also had to absorb enough origin energy. Just this would consume countless years. Master Flamespark withdrew his hand as he looked at Wang Lin and laughed. Good. 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 Shu Mu, you have attained a great achievement. Ji Xiantian was one of the 4 saints of the Alliance. Back then, he was ranked 9th in the Alliance. You have achieved a great merit. All heaven and I will remember this. Master Flamespark let out a satisfied laugh. This Ji Xiantian was one of the people who hunted him back then. This sudden change in scene made the surrounding cultivators look on with strange expressions. In particular, Li Yunzi and the Shengong family ancestor looked at Wang Lin differently now. Li Yunzi's eyes revealed admiration and he nodded at Wang Lin. The Shengong family ancestor had always been cold, but right now he revealed a smile at Wang Lin. As for the other cultivators, the black-robed old man and the youth had a complex gazes, but even more so, they admit their defeat. If it was them, they definitely wouldn't have had the resolve to do this. There was also that woman in the palace dress. She now looked at Wang Lin with a hint of interest. She was already beautiful, so now that she showed this kind of gaze, it was extremely attractive. Shu Mu, after this war is over, not only will this old man return your Thunder Beast, I will also gift you a defensive treasure. With this treasure, aside from a few select people in the Alliance, no one else will be able to threaten your life. Master Flamespark smiled as he charged ahead at Black Fiend Devil Saint and Cloud Dragon Demon Saint. With a calm expression, Wang Lin activated the origin energy in his body. He immediately felt his own strength return and he took a deep breath. He had gambled on the right move just now. The giant wood was still charging into the northern region battlefield and the Alliance cultivators were being pushed back. When Ji Xiantian was devoured by the Moongazer serpent, all the Alliance cultivators were shaken and their will to fight had diminished greatly. The Moongazer serpent roared like crazy and its tentacles swept the area. Any cultivator that was touched by the tentacles would let out a miserable scream and be sucked dry. The Moongazer serpent was too strong. Black Fiend Devil Saint and Cloud Dragon Demon Saint were both constantly retreating. Both of their minds were shaken and they no longer had the will to continue to battle. They were about to flee. But an impact no weaker than the giant woods suddenly approached from the distance in the northern region. Countless towers, each one tens of thousands of feet tall, charged over with hundreds of cultivators standing on each. Their powerful killing intent was enough to tear the nearby space. From a distance, the stars were filled with these towers. There were no less than 100 of these cone towers that emitted sharp whistles as they rushed over. A powerful pressure suddenly came from the distance. Aside from the 100 towers, there were also 4 giant cultivation planets. There were 4 giants tens of thousands of feet tall carrying the cultivation planets. These 4 giants each had an axe mark on their foreheads. They were giant demon clan members. There were 4 people floating above the cultivation planets carried by the 4 members of the giant demon clan. 3 of them were old men with the air of celestials. Their might was clearly felt without any need for them to show anger. The last person was a woman. She wore a blue dress and her hair was hanging over her shoulder. She held an 8-petal lotus flower and her phoenix eyes were filled with killing intent as she looked ahead. The appearance of these Alliance cultivators attracted the attention of the surrounding cultivators. The Alliance cultivators were surprised and quickly rallied as they retreated. On the All-Heaven side, Blood God and the 3 ancestors coldly looked over. Master Flamespark stepped out and waved his right hand, sending a sea of flames flying ahead. At the same time, the Moongazer serpent let out a roar and its tentacles extended. As for the tens of thousands of cultivators around the giant wood, they immediately charged out and used their magic treasures. A great war was about to unfold. Just at this moment, the woman in the blue dress calmly said, "Greeting, Senior Wudo-chan." After she spoke, a long laugh came from the distance, and a black cloud rushed over from the same direction. There was a person standing in the black cloud. This person was middle-aged, had a square face, and wore a purple robe that showed his might without him expressing any anger. At this moment, black mist around him churned and a thunderous rumble echoed. "Master Flamespark, I have long known your name. Today, do you dare to battle with me, Wudo-chan?" The middle-aged man's words were extremely arrogant. As he spoke, the black mist under his feet shot out toward Master Flamespark. Master Flamespark had no memories of this Wudo-chan. It was obvious this person had joined the Alliance after he left, but Master Flamespark didn't underestimate this person. The aura this person gave off made him very serious. "If you want to battle, then let's battle." As Master Flamespark's cold voice echoed, he stepped out and entered the black mist. This black mist suddenly rose up and began to churn violently. Bursts of fire spells shot out and created explosions. "Seal this Moongazer serpent." The woman in the blue dress calmly spoke. The hundreds of towers immediately shot out, creating a whistling sound as their speed was 100 times faster than before. They were like swords that shot directly at the Moongazer serpent. Wang Lin secretly realized that things were going bad. It seemed All-Heaven was the weaker side. He silently moved back on the giant wood, but he immediately felt a fierce gaze on his body. It was the woman in the blue dress who was looking at Wang Lin with a complex gaze. Wang Lin's eyes narrowed and met the gaze of the woman in the blue dress. Wang Lin had never seen her before and she didn't feel familiar at all. However, her gaze made him feel a bit puzzled. Right now was not the moment to ponder this. Wang Lin's expression remained neutral as he continued to retreat. The 100 towers closed in with sharp whistles that wanted to tear open the world and shot straight for the Moongazer serpent. These tall towers were like swords piercing through space. The Moongazer serpent let out an angry roar as its countless tentacles reached out toward the incoming towers. At this moment, the fastest tower closed in and was caught by a tentacle. The moment they touched, the tower immediately shattered into black powder that spread out. As for the Alliance cultivators on the tower, they had already jumped off when the tower got close to the Moongazer serpent. Shortly after, more towers arrived while whistling. Most of them were caught by the Moongazer serpent's tentacles and exploded into black powder. As the black powder spread out, the remaining towers moved several times faster. They were like swords that penetrated the black powder, dodged the tentacles, and directly pierced the Moongazer serpent's body. Bang! Loud explosions echoed when the towers collided with the Moongazer serpent. Cracks appeared at the tips of the towers and rapidly spread. In the blink of an eye, the towers were covered in cracks and then collapsed into powder. Bang, 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 bang. The explosions echoed as the towers that weren't stopped by the tentacles collided with the Moongazer serpent's body and turned into powder. During this process, the Moongazer serpent roared as if it was crazy and its tentacles swept the area. Some of the surrounding cultivators weren't able to dodge quickly enough and died. Seal. The voice of the woman in the blue dress was gentle, but it clearly echoed across the stars. In an instant, all the black powder around the Moongazer serpent gave off a demonic glow. The powder spread out and formed a sphere around the Moongazer serpent. There were bright bloodlights inside the sphere, and at this moment, an extremely shocking scene was unfolding on 100 planets scattered across the eastern, southern, and northern parts of the Alliance. On one of the planets, almost all of the cultivators had been mobilized. They had captured demonic beasts from their habitats. All the demonic beasts were imprisoned in a very large formation. This formation was a circle with a radius of 5,000 kilometers. Demonic beasts were densely packed within the formation. There were at least tens of thousands of them. Large amounts of cultivators floated in the sky outside the formation as if they were waiting for a command. There was a red-haired elder with them who apparently had high status. The surrounding cultivators moved with him as the center. When the woman in the blue dress gave the command, her voice seemed to be able to penetrate the void and travel across the stars due to a special spell to let the people present hear the command. In an instant, the red-haired elder's eyes lit up and he waved his right hand. With a wave of his arm, all the surrounding cultivators launched an orderly attack of spells and magic treasures at the tens of thousands of demonic beasts below them. Waves of miserable roars echoed within this formation, and it became a sea of blood. The formation activated and completely absorbed the blood of these tens of thousands of demonic beasts clean. This scene occurred in nearly 100 other planets. This was one of the 10 great formations in the Alliance, the Million Beast Blood Soul Seal. These nearly 100 towers were made with a special material to go along with this formation. At this moment, as the millions of beasts died on those 100 planets, the black powder surrounding the moongazer serpent gave off a powerful smell of blood. This smell of blood was too dense. If one were to smell it, their heart would tremble. The black powder began to move mysteriously under this dense scent of blood. The powder began to solidify and the moongazer serpent was completely sealed under this black, earth-like material. The black powder outside the moongazer serpent solidified into a huge ball that trapped the moongazer serpent inside. Only its muffled roars continued to spread and echo among the stars. At this moment, the tens of thousands of Alliance cultivators that had jumped off the towers before they collapsed all charged toward the All-Heaven cultivators. This scene shocked the All-Heaven cultivators. Li Yunzi and the Shengong family ancestor looked at each other and then immediately jumped off the giant wood. Li Yunzi's right hand reached out to the void and the world's origin energy gathered. It condensed into almost 100 small flags. He and the Shengong family ancestor were the two with the highest statuses here aside from the Xiong family ancestor and the middle-aged man from the Gongsun family. Before those two left, they temporarily handed command to Li Yunzi and the Shengong family ancestor. Li Yunzi was burdened with an extremely important mission. He grabbed a portion of the flags and threw them to the side as he shouted, 72 Earth Celestials, gather your teams and exterminate all the Alliance cultivators. Order received. Dozens of All-Heaven cultivators immediately flew out. They were the Earth Celestials from the 108 Celestials, but not all of them were here. They grabbed their flags and led their teams into a chaotic battle with the Alliance cultivators that got off the towers. An instant later, bursts of rumbles and endless sounds of magic treasures echoed among the stars. Their endless flashes of light set off a monstrous slaughter intent. The Shengong family ancestor also grabbed dozens of small flags and threw them. He shouted, 36 Heaven Celestials, help me break the seal on the moon beast. After he spoke, he took a step and charged toward the seal. Behind him were dozens of cultivators along with their own respective teams. The big-headed boy was among them. Shu Mu, the four of you, guard me. Li Yunzi's gaze swept past Wang Lin, the woman in the palace dress, the black-robed old man, and the youth in white before he sat down on the giant wood. The wood shook and abruptly stopped in the sky. Li Yunzi sat down and then his hands formed a seal and he pointed to the spot between his eyebrows. His origin soul rushed out, and outside his origin soul were the 3 battle scrolls. They started circling around him. Li Yunzi's origin soul pointed at one of the battle scrolls and sent out a thunderous wave of divine sense. As this divine sense spread out, one of the 17 Lu Fu suddenly exploded and a bloody figure walked out. This bloody figure was a man made of blood. After it appeared, it let out a roar and charged into the battle. Blood God and company weren't idling either. Black Fiend Devil Saint and Cloud Dragon Demon Saint were attacking Blood God and company. The two sides had opened up a new battlefield, and it was difficult to gain an advantage for either side. The blood person went toward the battlefield of Blood God and Black Fiend Devil Saint. The moment the blood person arrived, Black Fiend Devil Saint was forced into a sorry state and had to retreat. Li Yunzi's origin soul trembled and then he immediately sat down to recover. Although his cultivation wasn't as powerful as Master Flamespark and Company's, even inferior to blood gods, his role in the battle between All Heaven and Alliance was great. The 18 Lu Fu didn't belong to his Zhon family, but only his Zhon family had the spell to control them. It couldn't be passed to outsiders, only a few people from the Zhon family could use it. This spell came from a sliver of comprehension and inheritance from the battle scrolls. Although this matter sounds complicated, it was one of the secrets in the All Heaven star system. Don't allow the person from the Zhon family touch the Lu Fu blood balls. However, this secret was broken during the preparations for the war against the Alliance. Master Flamespark, the Xiong family ancestor, the middle-aged man from the Gongsun family, and several old monsters had all decided to let Li Yunzi control the 18 Lu Fu. As soon as Li Yunzi's origin soul recovered slightly, he pointed at another battle scroll. His divine sense entered the battle scroll and turned into an incredible wave that swept across the stars. One of the 16 remaining Lu Fu exploded into countless drops of blood and formed another blood person. This blood person let out a roar and charged straight toward where the Shengong family ancestor was battling the seal that was holding the Moongazer serpent. Among the Alliance cultivators, the woman in the blue dress frowned. She pointed with her jade-like hand and one of the giant demon clan members let out a roar and stepped forward. The cultivation planet he was carrying wasn't very large, only about 1% of a normal cultivation planet. Nevertheless, the giant demon clan member was really insignificant compared to it. However, the giant demon clan member was very fast, and as he ran, he mercilessly threw it. The cultivation planet directly came crashing down toward the remaining 15 Lu Fu. There was still an old man floating on the cultivation planet. His eyes lit up as he quickly approached the 15 Lu Fu along with the cultivation planet. However, the suppression force became even stronger the closer you were to the Lu Fu. The old man's expression became serious as he rapidly approached the 15 Lu Fu. As for the giant demon clan member, he let out a roar and charged at Li Yunzi. Li Yunzi's origin soul floated there and looked slightly bleak. He suddenly opened his eyes and shouted, "Lu Hong, Zhu Xingtian, the two of you, quickly go protect the Lu Fu." Part 232. After he spoke, the black-robed old man and the white-robed youth charged out and went toward the Lu Fu. The Lu Fu had great influence on the Alliance cultivators, but not only did they not affect these two, they helped them greatly. They rushed over and immediately used their spells to protect them. Li Yunzi clenched his teeth and pointed at another battle scroll. When his divine sense entered it, one of the 15 Lu Fu collapsed into a blood person to battle the old man on the cultivation planet. At this moment, the 10,000-foot giant demon clan member rushed over. If it met any all-heaven cultivators weaker than him, he would grab them and crush them with a roar before swallowing them. This 10,000-foot giant demon clan member was at the peak of the corporeal yang stage, but this body was too strong and thus could absorb a lot more origin energy than normal cultivators. Although he was only at the peak of the corporeal yang stage, he could battle against ordinary early-stage nirvana scryer cultivators. With how strong his body was, he wasn't afraid of most magic treasures. Right now, the giant charged straight for Li Yunzi on the giant wood. The giant's eyes were cloudy and there was a hint of madness in them. He wants to self-destruct. A very beautiful voice appeared next to Wang Lin's ear. It was the woman in the palace dress who spoke as the giant approached rapidly. Wang Lin nodded and looked at Li Yunzi's origin soul. The origin soul was currently recovering to summon another blood person. Li Yunzi couldn't be disturbed right now. However, Wang Lin didn't believe that Li Yunzi didn't have backup, but this wasn't the moment to test Li Yunzi. As the giant demon clan member got closer and closer, Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he calmly said, "Let me." After he spoke, he took a step and charged straight at the giant. The woman in the palace dress smiled gracefully. Although it was a battle, she was still extremely calm. She pulled back some hair behind her ear and smiled at Wang Lin. "Fellow cultivator Shu, be careful." When Wang Lin stepped off the giant wood and exited the giant wood's area of influence, he heard all of the chaos coming from the surrounding battles. As the giant demon clan member approached, he could hear the sonic booms created by the charge. The giant demon clan member charged forward and moved faster and faster. A destructive aura spread out from his body, and in an instant, the giant closed in. His right hand formed a fist, and as he threw the punch, he shouted, "Back off." The fist arrived and the wind created by the fist swept by Wang Lin. Although this wind was strong, it couldn't even make Wang Lin take half a step back. With a cold expression, he threw out a punch as well. This scene was extremely strange. The 10,000-foot giant's fist was incomparably huge, while Wang Lin was like an insignificant ant. His fist was even more negligible. However, when the two fists closed, a thunderous rumble echoed, and it became stronger and stronger. It was as if all the sounds before this were preparations for the collision of the two fists. When the two fists came even closer to each other, the thunderous rumbles seemed to replace all sound. The surrounding cultivators only felt a hum echo endlessly in their ears. Time seemed to slow down as the two fists came closer and closer. Then, in just one moment, the two fists collided and a thunderous rumble echoed. This sound was so intense that it caused the countless surrounding cultivators to tremble. It also created an invisible shockwave that spread in all directions. Large amounts of cultivators were interrupted from their battles and quickly retreated. They all looked in terror at the battle between Wang Lin and the giant. The 10,000-foot giant's body trembled violently as he felt an unimaginable force coming from the other party's tiny fist. He coughed out a mouthful of blood and popping sounds echoed from his fist. A moment later, his right fist exploded in a bloody mess. After letting a miserable scream, this 10,000-foot giant wasn't able to withstand his powerful force and was pushed back. The collapse of his body didn't stop. Even though he was part of the giant demon clan, he couldn't withstand Wang Lin's ancient god power. Not only did his right arm disintegrate, a large part of his body also disintegrated. The madness in the giant demon clan member's eyes became even stronger. He let out a roar and a destructive aura surged inside his body, and at that instant, he blew up. The self-destruction of a peak corporeal young cultivator was very strong, especially when this person had the body of a giant demon clan member. This power was enough to even make Wang Lin frown. Wang Lin's face turned slightly red and his eyes became even more cold. He forcibly coughed out some blood so people wouldn't suspect him too much, then his right hand formed a seal and he shouted, "Call the wind." After he said those words, a black wind appeared in Wang Lin's right hand and turned into two black dragons. The black dragons rushed out, and as they devoured, they also spat out blasts of cold air that could extinguish life. Call the wind was extremely strong, and under the impact of the black dragons, the giant's body was instantly pushed very far away. The two dragons actually devoured the giant's body, which infinitely weakened the power of his self-destruction. Boom! After a loud bang, the 10,000-foot giant demon clan member exploded, causing an immeasurable impact. This caught the attention of the surrounding cultivators. Even the old monsters that were fighting couldn't help but take a look. Wang Lin's face turned slightly pale as he staggered back to the giant wood as if he was injured. In truth, killing a 10,000-foot giant demon clan member was not difficult at all for Wang Lin, who had the body of an ancient god. The woman in the palace dress on the giant wood smiled. "I admire fellow cultivator Shu's spells. The spell that lets you instantly increase the power of your body is especially shocking." Li Yunzi opened his eyes and revealed admiration, but he didn't speak. He pointed at one of the battle scrolls and his divine sense entered it. A second later, another of the 14 Lu Fu quickly shrank. Without collapsing, it condensed into another blood person. This blood person seemed to contain a blood spell that could reverse the heavens. It charged directly at the old man on the cultivation planet that was battling another blood person, the black-robed old man, and the youth in white. In the distance, the woman in the blue dress frowned even harder. She pointed with her jade-like hand and the other two 10,000-foot giants charged out. One of them went directly toward the Lu Fu. As for the other, he charged directly toward the giant wood. As this giant demon clan member closed in, The old man on the cultivation planet flew up. Then his hands formed a seal and he pressed down. The cultivation planet between the old man and the giant demon clan member suddenly began to rotate and emit a ripple. The old man began chanting and his eyes lit up. Then his hand pushed down and he shouted, "Cultivation planet fluctuation." After he spoke, the cultivation planet flew by itself and rotated even faster. However, as it rotated, it began to shrink until it was only half its original size. At the same time, a scarlet-red ripple spread out from the cultivation planet. Under the old man's control, it spread ahead at an unimaginable speed. This red ripple was too fast. As it spread out, some all-heaven cultivators were affected. They began to tremble, and in an instant, their entire bodies, including their bags of holding, collapsed. This ripple shot straight toward the giant wood. Wang Lin's expression changed, and Li Yunzi opened his eyes and shouted, "Shu Mu, Zi Yang, the two of you quickly scatter. Do your own things and don't bother guarding this old man." Even without Li Yunzi giving the command, Wang Lin had already moved the moment Li Yunzi spoke. He charged off the giant wood and quickly left this place with one teleportation. The woman in the palace dress was the same and quickly left. Just as the two of them left, the scarlet-red ripple arrived. Li Yunzi's origin soul wrapped around his body and formed a seal. At this moment, both his origin soul and body disappeared into the giant wood. The scarlet ripple landed on the giant wood and swept by along the giant wood's length. Wang Lin dodged far away from the scarlet-red ripple. However, his surroundings were in complete chaos. The moment he reappeared, a sword from an alliance cultivator swept toward him. There was a flash of coldness in Wang Lin's eyes, and he didn't even dodge. The sword hit his body and bounced off. Then he turned around and pointed. This point contained origin energy and also the power of an ancient god. It landed directly on the person who had sneak attacked him. A ghast filled this person's eyes, and just as he was about to retreat, a large amount of blood mist exploded from his body. His origin soul fled in panic, but just then, another all-heaven cultivator caught his origin soul and crushed it. The all-heaven cultivator was filled with killing intent as he looked at Wang Lin. He licked his lips and said in a hoarse voice, "Shu Mu, why don't the two of us compete again? Let's see who kills more." This all-heaven cultivator was Vice Thunder Celestial Shu Ting. Wang Lin's expression was neutral as he calmly said, "If you really want to compare, then why not see who can kill that woman?" As he spoke, he pointed at the woman in the blue dress. Shu Ting was startled and his expression was uncertain. He clenched his teeth and said, "Good, then let us compete with this. We'll both slaughter our way there and see who will succeed." The woman obviously had a very high status, or else she wouldn't be leading this battle. However, this woman's cultivation didn't seem to be that high, only mid-stage of Nirvana Scrya. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he sneered in his heart, but he charged forward toward the woman in the blue dress first. Shu Ting's expression was gloomy as he followed suit. The two of them charged toward the horizon. There were many cultivators killing each other and all kinds of magic treasures were flying around. Shu Ting was bloodthirsty. Any time he encountered someone with a lower cultivation level, he would immediately attack. As a result, he was a bit slower. Wang Lin had more than 1,000 years of experience, so he had easily seen through Shu Ting's intent. He didn't point it out or use the same method as Shu Ting. Instead, his speed didn't fall as he closed in on the woman in the blue dress. During the chaotic battle, the woman in the blue dress clearly saw Wang Lin and Shu Ting's actions. She was calm, but she didn't look at Shu Ting. She only looked at Wang Lin with a cold gaze. Wang Lin moved even faster and faster as he traveled between the cultivators. A moment later, he was already within 1,000 feet of the woman. While letting out a laugh, his right hand formed a fist and he mercilessly threw a punch. This punch hit the void, and a thunderous roar echoed and countless ripples spread out. It created a powerful shockwave that charged straight at the woman in the blue dress. Wang Lin's figure didn't stop, he charged in right after the shockwave. Not far away from Wang Lin, Shu Ting's eyes lit up and he sneered. Not only did he not move closer, he retreated to the side. There was a hint of mockery in his eyes. "Shu Mu, you have been cultivating for so many years, Yet your schemes are only this shallow. This woman obviously has a special status in the alliance, or else she wouldn't be organizing this battle. Although her cultivation level isn't high, she must have a powerful guardian. You want to lure me into killing her? Do you think I'm a 3-year-old child? I want to see how you end this. He stared at Wang Lin, who was closing in on the woman in the blue dress, and the sneer on his face became even stronger. Wang Lin didn't slow down and followed the shockwave. The shockwave was earth-shattering and moved like lightning. It arrived 100 feet before the woman in the blue dress. There was a flash of coldness in her eyes. She knew that the giant demon clan member under her couldn't stop this person. However, there was no trace of panic as she calmly lifted her left hand and pressed down on the void below her. Just at this instant, the cultivation planet the giant demon clan member was carrying began to rotate at an incredible speed. Waves of scarlet-red ripples quickly spread out. The scarlet-red ripples contained a destructive aura. As they spread, the cultivation planet shrank at a rate visible to the naked eye. The shockwave created by Wang Lin's punch collided with the scarlet-red ripples. There was a loud bang and the shockwave collapsed. The scarlet-red ripples quickly spread toward Wang Lin without any obstruction. Shu Ting felt ecstasy in his heart as he watched this. This Shu Mu had really overestimated himself. If he were to die here, it would be a blessing. However, just as Shu Ting was feeling joy, Wang Lin, who was near the scarlet-red ripples, suddenly turned around and looked at Shu Ting with a smile that wasn't a smile. When his expression fell in Shu Ting's eyes, it made Shu Ting tremble. Not good. Shu Ting believed he understood Wang Lin. Seeing Wang Lin make such an expression when he was at a moment of life and death made his mind tremble. Just at this moment, a giant furnace appeared around Wang Lin. The sound of the furnace echoed as Wang Lin's right hand pointed at Shu Ting and he shouted, "Change positions." In an instant, a power that made Shu Ting lose his wit appeared around him. It didn't give him any time to react, and this power was not something he could resist. The power surrounded his body and he felt as if time itself had stopped. The scarlet-red ripples were less than 1 foot away from Wang Lin when he suddenly changed positions with Shu Ting. It was as if the world was reversed. At the next instant, time seemed to return back to normal. In truth, time didn't stop at all. It was all an illusion that Shu Ting felt due to the spell being too fast. When he regained his composure, all the hair on his body stood up and a life and death crisis surrounded him. His vision was covered in red, but this wasn't time for him to think. His hands formed a seal and his celestial origin energy surged out like crazy. His body shrank, and in the blink of an eye, more than 100 barriers formed around him. These barriers were formed by his celestial origin energy along with a celestial spell his Shu family had passed down. From afar, Shu Ting looked like a sun as he was covered by layers of golden light. The instant the barriers appeared around him, the scarlet-red ripples closed in. Bang, 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 bang. The scarlet ripples were like violent waves that bombarded him non-stop. In an instant, more than 30 of the 100-plus barriers around Shu Ting collapse. This scene made Shu Ting's scalp go numb, but he didn't idle by, he retreated. As the scarlet-red ripples spread out, dozens more of the barriers around him collapsed. Shu Mu. Shu Ting let out a roar and his hatred had reached a peak. The scarlet-red ripples were significantly faster than Shu Ting. No matter how far he retreated, the scarlet-red ripples still caught up and passed by. Bang, bang, bang. The moment the scarlet-red ripples passed through Shu Ting, all of the barriers around him collapsed. He felt his body being pulled so hard that it was going to shatter. The moment his barriers collapsed, Shu Ting took out more than 100 jades. Without time to feel heartache for them, he crushed them all and more than 100 different colored barriers appeared around him. In addition, he took out large amount of treasures to resist the ripples. However, the moment these barriers formed, they immediately collapsed, even the magic treasures shattered as well. Although this was the case, the scarlet-red ripples had grown weaker after Shu Ting's continued resistance. After all, this wasn't a concentrated attack, it was spread out, so the power was divided by a lot. However, even so, it was not something Shu Ting could resist. After all, he had consumed a lot of celestial origin energy and used a number of magic treasures in the battle. Using this chance, he coughed out blood that contained his celestial origin. The blood diffused around him as he quickly escaped from the scarlet red ripples. If he had used the blood escape when the ripples were strong, he might not have been able to escape. However, now that the ripples were weakened, he had a chance. He really wasn't willing to use the blood escape unless it was his last resort in the battlefield. Although it was only for a moment, in his mind, the danger he faced was no less than when he faced Wang Lin in One Line to Heaven. The hatred he had for Wang Lin in his heart was already indescribable. He turned around and roared, "Shu Mu, you!" He wanted to use this roar to expose Wang Lin's behavior so that the All-Heaven cultivators and the old monsters would be suspicious of Wang Lin. However, just when he was about to speak, his words were cut off by Wang Lin's laughter. Wang Lin charged out toward the scarlet red ripples as Shu Ting retreated. At the same time, he laughed. "Fellow cultivator Shu is indeed reliable. Since you helped me weaken the scarlet red ripples, I, Shu Mu, will naturally not forget. If I can kill this woman, then you will also gain credit for the kill." As Wang Lin spoke, he moved extremely fast. The scarlet red ripples that made contact with Shu Ting were already weakened. Wang Lin's 2 fingers formed a sword, then his ancient god body plus his origin energy and the yin and yang fishes collided with the scarlet red ripples. Bang! After a loud bang, Wang Lin charged inside the scarlet red ripples without any obstruction. When Shu Ting saw all of this, monstrous anger filled his eyes. The bloodlight around him collapsed due to the anger and he staggered back. The anger injured his mind, causing him to cough out more blood. This mouthful of blood made him sober. He suppressed his anger and revealed a cold gaze before retreating without hesitation. Wang Lin let out a sigh in his heart. This Shu Ting was indeed a character. Although he was angered, he was able to regain clarity rather quickly. He was trying to kill Shu Ting by borrowing someone else's hand. If he had succeeded, it would have been a joyous occasion. Wang Lin had never forgotten that there was still a sliver of source origin energy in Shu Ting's body. Back then, he killed Shu Ting's avatar and took half of that source origin energy. At this moment, he ignored Shu Ting. As Wang Lin charged into the scarlet red ripples, he stared at the woman in the blue dress. As he moved forward, his right hand formed a seal and pointed at the void, making black wind appear. It surrounded the area and formed a black whirlwind. This whirlwind was extremely powerful, and the roar of a dragon came out from inside it. Then the heads of 2 dragons peeked out and charged directly at the woman in the blue dress. The woman's expression was still cold, but her gaze toward Wang Lin became complex. "Lord doesn't know me, but I know you." She let out a sigh and looked at the 8-leaf lotus flower. Then her left hand plucked a leaf and gently threw it forward. The leaf flew forward and emitted a fragrance. It rapidly grew until it was hundreds of feet large and gently fell toward Wang Lin. Boom! A loud explosion came from the space 100 feet around Wang Lin. A powerful aura seemed to surround the 100 feet of space around him. It was as if everything inside this space had to collapse. Crackling sounds appeared under Wang Lin's feet and a huge crack appeared. A powerful force came from space as if it was trying to push him into the crack. "Since you don't understand, then disappear with the void." The woman in the blue dress put down her left hand. The complex gaze in her eyes gradually disappeared. Wang Lin's pupils shrank as he felt a pressure descend upon him. Under this pressure, he found that the origin energy inside his body was actually obstructed. The black whirlwind roared around him and the 2 black dragons inside charged out at the lotus flower leaf. The dragons roared and blasted out cold wind. However, the lotus leaf didn't pause, it moved faster. The crack under Wang Lin's feet became bigger and cold wind rushed out of it. At this moment, the 2 black dragons collided with the leaf. There was a loud bang as one of the black dragon trembled and collapsed into black gas that was pushed back. The other dragon blasted out cold air that did nothing to the leaf. The leaf absorbed it all and revealed a hint of green light. As this green light spread, the pressure became even stronger. Even the black whirlwind disintegrated under this pressure. What kind of treasure is this? Wang Lin's eyes lit up, then he stretched open his arms and shouted, "Summon the rain." This was the first time Wang Lin had used the second spell he learned from Celestial Emperor Bai Fan. As he said these words, The origin energy of the world seemed to be getting churned by a pair of large hands and quickly gathered. A thin layer of water mist appeared before Wang Lin's body. His hand stretched out, and it was as if new life had been injected into the black mist. It immediately formed a vortex around Wang Lin and rotated rapidly. Drops of rain continued to form while origin energy from the world gathered within the black gas. A sliver of celestial origin energy came out from Wang Lin's body to communicate with the world. In the blink of an eye, tens of thousands of drops of rain formed in the black vortex around Wang Lin. Each drop contained a great amount of power. There was a strand of celestial spiritual energy within this vortex, which made Wang Lin look like a celestial. His arms were stretched out as he floated among the stars. The black wind around him rotated like crazy as drops of rain formed and floated around him. The raindrops were like crystals. They looked very gorgeous from afar. Just at this instant, Wang Lin waved his hand. With him as the center, the vortex trembled and spun in reverse. There was a thunderous rumble as it rose into the air. It looked like a 1,000 feet vortex was rising up into the air to connect with the heavens. The rumbling continued as the vortex pulled Wang Lin up. One could only catch a glimpse of Wang Lin's figure. As the vortex rose, the 10,000 drops of rain rushed out. They whistled through the air as if the earth had become the sky. The rain was born from the earth and then it went back up to the sky and then it died at the end of the sky. There were hints of thunder intent in Wang Lin's eyes, but he suppressed it. There was no need to expose his true cultivation here. The vortex and 10,000 drops of rain directly pressed down on the lotus flower leaf. The vortex first closed in on the lotus flower leaf, making it tremble. Then the 10,000 raindrops fell on the leaf. The sound of the raindrops hitting the leaf echoed and the leaf suddenly collapsed. The impact caused by the collapse of the leaf was scattered by the vortex and raindrops. The pressure on Wang Lin disappeared, then his hand formed a seal and he pointed at the woman in the blue dress. The vortex and raindrops formed by summoned the rains swept by Wang Lin and charged at the woman in the blue dress. Just at this moment, the black fiend devil saint, who was clearly losing against blood god and the blood person, quickly escaped. In a flash, he charged directly at Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he retreated without hesitation. Although he was attempting to kill this woman, he wasn't really trying to kill her. He just had to make it look like he, Shu Mu, was making effort during this battle. Besides, with his previous achievement, everything else could be skipped over. As he retreated, coldness flashed in the eyes of woman in the blue dress. Her right hand pointed at the 7-leaf lotus flower, causing an illusory lotus to appear and completely block summon the rain. She looked at the battlefield. The alliance was currently in an unfavorable situation. However, she didn't panic, as she knew this wasn't the real battle. This was merely the prelude. Raising her jade-like hand, she formed a seal, pointed at the void, and softly said, "Please help, Corpse Prison Realm." After she spoke, a giant, 50-kilometer-wide formation silently appeared in the void before her. This formation was hanging upside down and was rotating rapidly. Blackish-purple gas was pouring out of it and a purple chain suddenly fell from inside the formation. There was an all-heaven cultivator below it that didn't dodge fast enough and was hit by the chain. His body immediately collapsed and his origin soul was trapped by the chain. From a distance, one could see that the cultivator's origin soul seemed to be stuck to the chain. No matter how much he struggled, he couldn't escape. Another chain came out from the formation and dangled there. One by one, the chains fell, and after only a few moments, there were over 100 chains sweeping the area. Just at this moment, a muffled roar came from the formation. This sound was filled with the feeling of being torn apart. When you heard it, it was as if your origin soul was being torn apart. A person walked out from the formation. The moment the person walked out, the smell of rotting corpses filled the area. This person was 100 feet tall and completely purple. This wasn't a living creature, but a corpse. This corpse had large amounts of chains wrapped around it. The chains that were dangling earlier were the chains that were wrapped around his corpse. This corpse wasn't formed naturally but refined from countless remains with a spell. In the Alliance, it was referred to as refined corpse. This object was formed naturally by the Corpse Prison Realm, with the corpse sect providing the corpse. Over the tens of thousands of years, there were only 18 made. Each corpse had cultivation equal to a late-stage nirvana scrya cultivator. The first refined corpse that appeared shook the chains on its body and let out a roar. This roar could penetrate the body and directly affect the origin soul. As the refined corpse roared, it charged into a group of cultivators and waved its chains around. The chains became its most fierce treasures. As it swept across the area, it created a gust of wind. A large amount of cultivators were no match and were forced to retreat. At this moment, a second refined corpse walked out from the formation. While letting a roar, it charged into the battlefield. As the refined corpses walked out one by one, the situation on the battlefield began to reverse. This was especially true when the last 3 refined corpses walked out. They didn't emit a purple glow, 2 of them glowed silver and 1 of them glowed gold. The 2 silver refined corpses were a male and female. Although they had sluggish expressions, their bodies were the size of a normal person's body and they were wearing silver shirts. There were still chains around them, but only 2. The moment they appeared, they gave off the pressure of early-stage nirvana cleanser cultivators. The last refined corpse couldn't even be described as a corpse. He was middle-aged and wore a dragon robe. He was like a mortal emperor. There weren't any chains around him. He only had 5 yellow talismans around his head. There were bursts of lightning that formed a close connection between the talismans. The aura of the 5 elements was coming from his body. The moment Wang Lin saw that man, he immediately thought of the 5 elements and the first time he encountered Red Butterfly. 5-element spirit body. Wang Lin retreated even faster. He knew that with his cultivation level, he couldn't play a big role in a big battle between 2 star systems. This was why he had acted with self-preservation as the goal from the beginning. If there was merit, he would take it. If there was none, then he would focus on staying alive. I don't know where senior brother Qing Shu is, but I believe he should be nearby. Wang Lin continued to retreat, but the woman in the blue dress had no intention of letting Wang Lin go. She pointed with her jade-like hand and an ordinary refined corpse stared at Wang Lin and chased after him. Wang Lin's expression became gloomy. If he was facing a mid-stage nirvana scryer with his current body and spells, he could win. However, when facing a late-stage nirvana scryer, he would have to use all his abilities for a chance at victory, and there were a lot of variables. However, it would be unwise to use all his abilities in this great battle. Also, if he was injured, he would immediately be in a dangerous situation. Wang Lin's plan was to find a chance during the chaos and enter the Moongazer Serpent unnoticed. Then he would take the opportunity to steal the power inheritance of the child ancient god. As he retreated, the refined corpse chased after him. The refined corpse swung its chains around, forcing open a path to Wang Lin. There was a flash of coldness coming from Wang Lin's eyes as he moved closer to the Moongazer Serpent. Muffled roars came from the Moongazer Serpent. Wang Lin didn't believe that just these cultivators from the Alliance could trap the Moongazer Serpent. Once the Moongazer Serpent became angry, everything would collapse. This mere sealing formation couldn't seal the Moongazer Serpent. A moment later, Wang Lin approached the black shell that trapped the Moongazer Serpent. The Shengong family ancestor was leading cultivators to constantly attack the black shell. Wang Lin's approach didn't attract the attention of any of these people. The refined corpse continued to chase after Wang Lin and got closer and closer. It threw one of the chains around it after Wang Lin, and the sound of the chain whistling through the air entered Wang Lin's ears. Wang Lin's eyes had a cold glint. He was very calm as he quickly backed up and touched the black shell sealing the Moongazer Serpent. The moment he touched the shell, he released a sliver of his ancient god aura into it. Just at this instant, the Moongazer Serpent inside the shell noticed the ancient god aura by instinct and became crazy. This roar from the Moongazer Serpent was heaven-shaking. The anger of the Moongazer Serpent was like the finger of the ancient god. The more angry it was, the stronger this spell was. A thunderous rumble came from the shell and countless cracks appeared as if an unimaginable force was coming from within the shell. In an instant, the black shell collapsed. The moment it collapsed, a rough ancient god finger poked out. The Moongazer serpent used its incomparable spell in the northern region for the first time. This spell was triggered by its anger and allowed the cultivators here to feel its unimaginable strength. If some people were underestimating the Moongazer serpent before or didn't consider it enough of a threat, they threw all those ideas out of their minds when the seal collapsed. The only thing that remained was a shock from their souls. At this moment, a large amount of cracks appeared on the black shell around the Moongazer serpent. Countless fragments were sent whistling in all directions. The countless black shell fragments spread out with powerful impact. Some of the cultivators didn't dodge fast enough and were hit by the fragments. They coughed out blood and then their bodies collapsed. Not even their origin souls were able to escape. There were even several people that were hit by the edges of the fragments, and their bodies were immediately sliced in half. Blood mist filled the area, creating a shocking scene. All of this caused the surroundings to become silent for a moment, as if every single gaze was focused on this place. However, in this silence, a roar from ancient times came from within the black shell. Roar. This roar was infinitely close to the roar of an ancient god. It seemed to penetrate time itself, as if it had always been there. This roar was filled with endless force. The ancient god finger suddenly flew out. It was impossible to describe the might and spectacle of the ancient god finger. It could only be said that the world would collapse under that finger. No power could resist the power of this finger. Everything must perish under the power of that finger. The refined corpse pursing Wang Lin was dumbfounded. There was a brief moment of blankness in its mind, and it weighed consequences of facing the ancient god finger head-on. Boom! The moment the ancient god finger charged out, it landed on the refined corpse. As popping sounds echoed, the chains on the refined corpse all collapsed. Large amounts of black blood were pushed out from the back of its body due to this endless force. Its entire body seemed to have been pulled back and its purple skin immediately began to dissipate. In the blink of an eye, it was as if it had been skinned by someone. Following that, all of its bones and flesh crumbled and finally, the refined corpse exploded. Although this sequence of events sounds slow, it only took a few breaths of time. The ancient god finger didn't stop and mercilessly pressed forward. Wang Lin had already retreated a moment before. His eyes lit up, and as he looked, he felt as if there was an indomitable adult ancient god behind that finger. The adult ancient god's thick arm was pushing the finger forward in an endless wave of destruction. The Moongazer serpent's giant body followed after the ancient god finger and rushed out with its countless tentacles spread out. Large amounts of mist spread out from its oval body and its fierce eyes met Wang Lin's eyes. The moment their gazes met, Wang Lin felt something was wrong. This Moongazer serpent's eyes were extremely clear, without any trace of confusion. Wang Lin had a feeling that when he looked at the Moongazer serpent, it was looking back at him. The Moongazer serpent broke free and gave the All-Heaven cultivators a huge morale boost. This battle was full of twists and turns. Sometimes the Alliance held the upper hand and sometimes All-Heaven had the advantage. At this moment, the Moongazer serpent reappeared, and the pressure it gave off shook the stars. The ancient god finger didn't dissipate and continued to sweep forward at an extremely fast pace. All cultivators that were before it exploded and died before it even got close to them. Wang Lin had spent his life in slaughter, but the number of deaths that occurred during this war was far more than all the people he had killed. This was the first time Wang Lin had encountered a war like this. The battle between planet Suzaku and the Forsaken Immortal clan was truly insignificant compared to this. The situation reversed. The ancient god finger whistled through space, and all the cultivators before it collapsed, not even able to slow it down. The ancient god finger swept toward Black Fiend Devil Saint. The expression of the Alliance's Black Fiend Devil Saint changed. As the ancient god finger closed in, he clenched his teeth and spat out a black mist while his hands formed a seal. The black mist immediately turned into a giant black crane. This black crane held a black leaf in its mouth. The moment it appeared, it dropped the leaf, and the leaf began to grow like crazy. In almost an instant, this leaf was more than 10,000 feet tall and spread to the sides, creating a barrier. The ancient god finger closed in and collided with the leaf. There were crackling sounds and then the leaf collapsed into strands of black gas. Black Fiend Devil Saint's face turned pale and he coughed out blood and retreated. However, his right hand reached toward the void and a wood carving appeared in his grasp. This wood carving was extremely strange. It was a person with folded arms surrounded by plants. It was impossible to see the face, as it was covered by plants. The moment the wood carving was taken out, Black Fiend Devil Saint threw it without hesitation. A black light that could devour all light came from the carving. It was as if the carving had come to life, and the plants began to move. The plants charged directly off the wood carving. As the plants charged off, 5 1,000-foot-long black flowers appeared from the void. These 5 black flowers gave off a strange aura. One of the flowers charged toward the ancient god finger. The center of the flower opened up like a mouth and spat out an extremely cold energy. The remaining 4 flowers opened their mouths and spat out large amounts of black gas. At the same time, the eyes of the wood carving shined red, making it seem to truly come alive. It opened its arms as if it was about to embrace something. It then rushed into the black gas and directly clung onto the ancient god finger. Black lines came from its body and immediately spread across the ancient god finger. Wang Lin saw this scene from the distance and revealed a sneer. If the ancient god finger could be broken so easily, then the All-Heaven cultivators wouldn't have spent so much effort to bring the Moongazer serpent here. This Moongazer serpent could be considered the most powerful weapon All-Heaven had prepared for this war. Wang Lin's gaze swept by and landed on the giant wood in the distance. I doubt charging forward is the only thing that wood can do. After standing on it for so long, I felt like there was something else inside. Hundreds of thoughts flashed through his mind. The battle between the 2 star systems had endlessly broadened his horizons. All of this was very important to him. After all, his cultivation time was simply too short compared to these old masters, so he was less knowledgeable than them. This great battle was like a display of spells and magic treasures. Wang Lin had absorbed all this information and also learned of the power of Nirvana Cleanser and Nirvana Shatterer cultivators. If this war didn't exist, it would have been very difficult for Wang Lin to learn this. At this moment, just as Black Fiend Devil Saint used a magic treasure to stop the ancient god finger, on the Alliance side, the remaining 10 refined corpses let out roars and charged. The 2 silver corpses moved faster than the rest. However, even with all of them combined, it still wasn't enough to compare to the finger of the ancient god. As the Moongazer serpent charged over, it let out another roar. Its roar was so powerful that it shook the entire space. Those whose cultivation was lacking had to evade, or they would be seriously injured. The roar of the Moongazer serpent was only a roar for others, but when it landed in Wang Lin's ears, it had a completely different meaning. Wang Lin's expression changed and his hands moved without hesitation to place down countless restrictions before him. The ancient god furnace appeared around him and he quickly retreated. The instant he retreated, the Moongazer serpent's roar caused the ancient god finger that Black Fiend Devil Saint and the refined corpses were dealing with to explode. Boom! It was impossible to explain the explosion of the ancient god finger. Everything within 5,000 kilometers of it seemed to have been directly torn open. Screams came from a large amount of cultivators as they were directly sucked into the crack and disappeared without a trace. Countless cultivators panicked and retreated in terror. They only hated themselves for being too slow. The Moongazer serpent was the only one who wasn't damaged at all. It charged forward, and its tentacles swept out to start a massacre. As for Black Fiend Devil Saint, who was at the center of the explosion, he coughed out large amounts of blood and was thrown back. He had never been in such a sorry state in his tens of thousands of years of cultivation. His body was seriously damaged and was on the verge of collapse. The current him was filled with shock. During his life of cultivation, he had never encountered such a powerful beast. After coughing out blood, he escaped frantically, as if he was out of his wits. As for the dozen refined corpses, aside from the silver corpses, the rest weren't able to resist the ancient godfinger at all. They had burst into a piles of flesh and blood while being sucked into the void. Even the 2 silver corpses were knocked back, and the chains on their bodies collapsed as they coughed out black blood. The beautiful female corpse actually charged directly at Wang Lin. This kind of treasure is something that should belong to me. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he looked not only at the female corpse but also at the half-broken wood carving. This video will end here.